Hi, welcome to Wisecat. Today I am joined by José Domingo Cruz and I need his help. Why? Because basically when it comes to things Mac, I am a doofus. I don't know a damn thing. And so I needed a Mac expert to help me navigate Homebrew and installing Docker Compose. And the reason we're installing Homebrew and Docker Compose is because the goal is today to get Ollama, the locally running AI operating on Jose's machine. So thank you very much for coming along, Jose, on this trip with me.
Very happy to be here. Thank you for giving me a chance to put an Open-AI. What do you call them now? Not
Ollama.
no, well, Ollama, but what's the general term for these things? LM,
LLM, yeah.
LLM. I keep wanting to say LMS when I see your face, but that's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so it looks like for the Mac, the website URL is this one. This is what we came up with. And it looks pretty straightforward, eh?
Yeah, that if that's the straightforward thing. Yeah, the installing of Homebrew, I think, is what I'm seeing in the documentation is that installing Homebrew allows you to install Docker Compose. And if you install Docker Compose, I got a Docker Compose YAML file that will let us just spin up that good old Ollama AI. So we've looked at a few websites. We've never tried this before, so we're going to see what happens.
Oh, I should probably mention I have two computers. One is Mac Silicon. It's an M1 MacBook Pro. And this is the last of the Intel iMacs, the last one that they produced in 2020. So don't think it'll make a really big difference, but for anyone who wanted to know exactly which Mac we're installing on right now, it's a 2020 27-inch iMac.
Hmm. Okay. Not sure about that. I have heard people say that Homebrew only works on M.1, maybe? I don't know. Let's try
Ooh.
it and find out, shall we?
Oh, wait a minute. No, no, we're not gonna. What was there anything like brew command document? It's any warnings that this doesn't run on home, the stuff you need that Apple or your Linux system didn't. Okay, if you're Mac OS, try our new paste in the Mac OS, download it. Well, it doesn't say anything specifically about don't do this on Intel.
No, and I would think it might. I think if we run that bash command with the curl,
Mm.
if it doesn't support your machine, it'll tell us, and this will be a really short video.
Yep. Or we can move over to the M1.
That's the thought. I don't know, but let's try it here
Let's
first.
try it. Okay, so
We've
I
got
think
the
that's
share
the
up and everything,
clipboard.
eh?
That's the clipboard icon, I assume.
Yep.
Okay, there you
Copy it,
go.
and I guess we just paste it into this shell.
Okay. And hit return on that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Fingers crossed.
Checking for sudo access. Okay, here we
So
go.
you'll need the password to do the install.
To continue or any other key to abort. Xcode command line tools will be in. I thought we did that a while back. Didn't we do that a while back? The Xcode command line tools? Okay.
Um, just going to install a whole bunch of folders to local, it seems, so that it can run things.
It's Apple software, Xcode. So it's just needs to go get some stuff to finish up what it has to do here. So press return enter to continue.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
All right, there it is. It's in progress. Finding available software. Downloading command line tools for Xcode.
Mm.
Just gonna, is it okay if I just scroll up a bit here? Just
Not a
interested in.
problem at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not seeing anything that seems to be saying
Yeah,
errors or anything yet, so this is
me
good.
neither. In the meantime, while we're looking at that, after we get Homebrew, then we go after Docker Compose, right?
Yep.
A Docker Compose is what we use to download the Ollama or et cetera, other types of models, or it's what runs those models.
More correctly, so there's a Docker Compose file, which is basically a set of instructions on how to install stuff to containers. Now, Docker is a layer that basically allows you to run applications inside their own little boxes, their own little containers. So the reason being that people would say, "Oh, it works fine on my machine," and then the boss might get mad and say, "Well, we're not giving them your machine, are we?" And so the programmer's like, "Well, why not? Let's give them a machine." And so if they make an actual container that has all of the dependencies and everything all in their nice package together, then there's a lot less messing around trying to install it on so many different devices. It essentially makes the environment under which the software runs identical wherever it's running.
Okay.
And so if we get the Docker Compose installed, then we can actually use a Docker Compose YAML file, which YAML just means YAML ain't markup language, but it's just a set of instructions that says install from this Docker image, make a container, and do these things. We'll connect it to the Open-Webui this way and things like that. And so we're going to be actually making two containers, one of them being a Ollama AI server, and the second one being a web user interface so that we can actually access it from our web browser, and it'll look, well, the interface will look like a normal ChatGPT or one of the other AI platforms where they all have fairly similar web user interfaces. And so that's the goal.
Okay.
So it looks like just after we get this Homebrew installed, we brew update and brew install Docker Compose, and that'll get us there. If that's all it requires, this is nice and close and good, and I'm liking this already.
Updating Homebrew and
Okay,
run brew help. What do you know? It's there.
okay.
Okay, so we got Homebrew up.
Run these two commands in your terminal to add Homebrew to your path. Okay,
Where is
so
that?
just down below at the bottom there, next steps.
Next, there it is. Run these two commands. Okay, so I just copy this.
Yeah.
From that curly bracket to
down
that
to
curly
the next
bracket,
line.
all the way down.
Yeah, from that bracket to there.
Oh, wait, I think I got an extra space there. There.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yep. So copy that to clipboard and I guess paste that one.
Okay. Hit return.
Oh yeah. And the next one, eval to the end of that line, I guess.
Eva, there it is.
Mm. I'm guessing that without that, if we type say brew updated and say brew, what are you talking about with brew? What's this brew thing? All right.
That's it.
So now with that done, I'm guessing we can just brew update.
So I'll take this over here. Oops. Take this over. Oops. Extra space. Copy that. Bring it here.
Updating Homebrew. Already up to date. Well, I guess being a fresh install that.
Fresh install, right. Okay. Install Docker Compose.
Okay. This looks like it's going to be a fairly short video.
And that's it. Three quick, that's what it says. It's three quick ones. Then we validate.
That's just checking if Docker Compose is actually installed, then Docker Compose version should just work. Wow, look at it go. Look at it go. It's going. Yeehaw. All right.
Okay.
That's looking pretty good. Run and brew clean up. Okay. I guess Docker Compose version. Let's try getting a version number for it.
How?
Just
over
Docker
here.
Compose version, that first line on that yeah. No,
All
just
the way
the
to
first
here.
line.
Just the first line?
Yeah, second line's the output.
I see. 227. Whoa,
Okay, that's looking pretty simple.
that's pretty simple.
Okay, I didn't expect us to get this far, I'll be honest. Um,
It's a Mac.
As a result, I don't actually have the URL to the GitHub repository ready. I had
You were
so
expecting
little
problems until
faith in-
midnight.
Yeah. Failure is always an option, as they say. Right?
Yeah, when you expect to fail, that's when you don't fail. So in a sense, you kind of did fail.
Yeah.
Your
All right.
prediction was failure, but no, it wasn't. So that's failure in a way.
Right. So this is the link to the repository. Can you open that browser?
Can you send me that somewhere?
It's in the the Zoom chat.
Oh, it's in the Zoom chat. I see. Okay, so this is the GitHub folder. All
Now,
right, what do I need here?
the only file that we're actually after is that docker-compose.yaml file. So we need to download that to ideally your home directory, because that's where you are at the moment. But we can CD into downloads or wherever it goes, as long as we know where it goes.
I don't know where it goes. I hope you know where it goes.
Can you click on docker-compose.yaml?
So the icon.
Well, the file name, I guess. I usually click on the name. Yeah, and now we want to go to raw.
Go to where?
So on the right-hand side of that code box, and that's all the code there is, by the way. It's really short.
Wow, 22 lines.
But if we click on the download the raw, maybe the download button next to it.
Oh, sorry.
Well, that'll work too if you just do
Oh,
file
okay.
save.
Copy raw type. Okay, I copied it. Okay.
Okay, so in there,
Put it into terminal.
not right there because we're gonna need. Let's try. Let's see. Do you have Nano? Try
What's
Nano docker-compose.yaml.
type
Same file.
nano space docker
docker-compose.yaml.
docker compose dot YAML.
Yep.
Okay, that's it.
Hit enter on that. Woohoo! Yeah, you do have Nano. Great. Now, can you paste in there? Right, that's the file.
Okay, return.
And I guess Control X to, and it has to be Control. It can't be
Control
Command.
X.
It's definitely.
It's okay. I'm one of those people that know the difference between command and control.
Yep. Oh.
So yes.
Yep. And enter. And now you should have a Docker Compose in there. So now that's it. The final command is, if you go back on the browser to the top of that GitHub repo.
Top of the Git. Sorry.
Just go back, hit the back button.
Just to hit the back button. Okay.
Yep. Now scroll down to the bottom. And that command that do you need sudo on a Mac? I don't know, probably. Let's just copy that command and see and run it and see what happens.
There's sudo on a Mac.
Oh, okay. In that case,
I'll have to give it my password again.
Work. Okay, is the Docker daemon running? Okay,
obsolete.
so here we go. Failure is starting to happen.
Because this version is not compatible with the version we just downloaded for Docker Compose.
No, that's not what it's saying. The cannot connect to Docker daemon means that the Docker daemon is not running.
Oh.
I think. Do you? Okay. We've got to perhaps search for how to start Docker daemon on a Mac. And I think this is where we need a thing called Docker desktop.
Okay, shall I look for that here?
Yeah, sure. Let's
so start Docker desktop.
Start Docker daemon on Mac.
Oh, Docker. Docker docs, Docker daemon. This one? Oh,
Yep.
there one. How about this one? How do I
Yeah,
start
that
the
looks
Docker
good.
daemon?
Sudo service docker start. Yeah, on Linux. Yeah, you can do that on Linux, but that's not an answer. Let's scroll further down. Things doctored. Hmm.
This guy says it worked last year.
Hmm. Um.
Docker machine restart.
Let's just go to the terminal again and try doing which docker.
Which WHICH?
Yep. Okay. Let's
Docker
try
not
which
found.
docker compose. With the dash.
Oh. Ah, damn it. Forgot. It's not a word processor.
Dompose. Okay, not dompose, compose.
Jeez.
Just hit up to get the last carry. Up arrow should get the
Which
last command
Docker?
out.
Which Docker compose?
Yeah. Okay, so Docker Compose is in there, but Docker itself is not. Okay, so let's try brew install Docker. I'd probably do it.
Good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Warning. There was a warning there.
Couple of warnings, but then it kept on
Treating
going.
Docker as a formula for the cast use. Running brew cleanup Docker, disable this behavior.
Okay.
So which Docker? Yeah.
And now it should exist, and there it is. Okay. Let's try the Docker Compose one up again. Just so if you hit the up arrow a couple of times, you should get to the previous command, the sudo docker compose YAML. Up.
Sudo.
Keep going up.
There
That
it is.
one, that's the one.
This is the one?
Yeah, let's give it a spin.
Warning.
Docker daemon is not running. Okay. So start. Okay. Here's an alternative situation. Install Docker Desktop for Mac is the recommendation I'm seeing in the web pages I'm searching for.
Install.
And I think that's actually the Docker Desktop for Mac. Is actually was what a whole bunch of people installed at the workshop I was trying to get working on Sunday. So
Did that work?
I think it half worked. Yeah.
Is that the one that I'm pointing at right now on my browser? How to start Dr. Daemon on a Mac?
That's not the one that we followed, no, but it's worth a look, perhaps.
What's this? Docker. Why does it suddenly stop as a post? Doesn't go anywhere.
That's not very helpful. Let's just try Docker Desktop Mac.
Okay.
Find that. Because I think Docker Desktop also gives you sort of some nice little. It integrates with your operating system, so you can have a little thing in the taskbar, sort of a thing that says,
Install Docker Desktop on Mac. That looks a little bit more steady.
Yeah.
And it's from docker.com too. That one?
Yeah, let's hit it.
Apple Silicon. Oh, Intel chip.
Nice.
It is different.
Okay, let's grab the Intel chip one.
Until downloads. Oh, what am I downloading? Page contains URLs. Okay, download this then.
Sure. Looks about right. I think that's what the people were doing in the workshop as well.
Okay, now it's downloading a file which is
Hey guys. Yeah.
about to open up on my desktop. Opens up a virtual disk. And you should maybe want to see this. I'm going to switch my share, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And go to my, wait, I got to close a couple of windows here. Okay, let's go to my desktop. It's a 27-inch desktop, so it's a little bit bigger. So basically I drop this, drop it on applications. From applications, after it finishes the copy, Docker should be here and ready to launch. And it will launch, I hope.
Just
Docker is
finished.
an app download. Yes, I do. And background added items that can be run.
Now, background item, that sounds a lot to me like a daemon.
Oh,
Demons
okay.
always hide in
Subscription service agreement. Hello there.
Hmm.
You accept a subscription service agreement, the Docker data processing agreement, data privacy set, free for small businesses. This is a paid service.
Mm-hmm.
A paid subscription for professional use. Paid subscriptions are also required for government entities. So I don't know if you want to go this route because this gets people into paying for a service.
Free for small business, personal use, education. I mean, we're totally education. So.
Okay, so I guess we're still within terms of use. Accept then?
Yeah, I accept that. I'm an
Finishing
educator and
Docker desktop. Complete installation, use recommended settings. Recommended settings? Or do you want to look at advanced settings?
I have no reason to go against the recommended settings.
Okay,
Yeah.
finish up.
Okay.
Background items added, background items added. Welcome to Docker desktop. Sign in
Let's
to connect.
continue without signing in.
So
Down the bottom.
continue without signing in. There it is.
Yeah.
Welcome survey. I'm a teacher.
Learning or
work
teaching?
and hobby
No,
projects.
no, I'd go with learning and learning or teaching, right?
Where is that? There it is. Okay.
And some hobby projects too, yeah.
What is a container? I don't want to know. View more.
Okay. Now perhaps let's go back to that terminal and see if the Docker Compose will work for us.
Okay, so
Hopefully if it does, it'll just pop
go
them
back
up inside of there.
Here, and where is my terminal window? There it is. Okay. Oh, sorry, wrong window. Hang on.
Oh
Log
no,
share. No, that was the
do.
Docker window. I don't want the
That'll do
Docker.
nicely though.
Yeah. But what I want is the install Docker. Yeah, it's this one. I want this one and terminal. Okay, share. There you go. Now what am I doing here?
Just running the sudo docker compose up -d one again. Give it a see if that we get a different result.
Cannot connect to Docker
Finishes.
daemon. Oh no, it's connecting. Version is obsolete.
It's finished though. It exited.
Okay.
So that's saying must use ASL logging, which requires CGO if running as root.
No idea what that means.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know either. Error getting credentials. All right. Let's Google that error status, shall we? Or the warning, perhaps.
Where's
Must
the error?
use ASL, which requires CGO if running as root. Let's Google that one, eh?
Let's choose
ASL. Age, sex, location. back in the old chat.
No, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Error while building Docker container using Linux command on Mac OS. Stack Overflow.
Sounds about right.
That's about right. Yeah. Computer password, but then through this error, run the Docker daemon as a non-root user. This one,
Okay. So just get rid of the sudo.
I'll just copy this.
No, 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 no. Don't copy that because that's a build command. That's a different command.
Oh,
Just
okay.
hit the up arrow and then go back to the start of the line and get rid of the sudo. Can't use mouse in there.
Okay, hang on. I'm just going to return that. Bring that back
Cool.
up here and
No, no, no. You've chopped off the D on the back end.
I did.
Yep, there was a D there. Yeah. And the sudo off the front. Wow, I kind of like that. The Docker Compose does not require. Oi! It's doing the magic. It's doing the magic. This is the magic.
Okay, so just don't run it as sudo.
Just don't run it as sudo. And actually, that's better because running as sudo means that you're basically running it with root, root permissions. So not having to run it as sudo, I like.
It makes sense. I mean, it actually is part of the entire spirit of having that container to protect everything else. You don't want it running as sudo. I remember when I first heard what sudo actually does, and for the first maybe few months when I was trying to experiment with terminal and it asked me to run sudo, I would always get a little bit itchy about it and go, oh, super user do, ooh, yuck.
Yeah. Well, there are a few things that make me a bit itchy about this entire process, actually. I mean, the whole idea of running a curl statement to download something off the internet and just run that as a shell script as well as there's a little discomfort in doing
if
that.
you weren't telling me to do it, I would not do it. I would see something like that, and no matter what anybody would say that, oh, but it's really, really fun to use. I go, I don't care. No.
Well, I am sort of flying a little blind here though, because I'm just going by the idea that homebrew is a fairly well-known term.
Even I've heard
I've never actually used it myself. It's fairly well established in the Mac community, it would seem.
Yeah.
So
I've heard of it. I've never used it, but it started.
So it's saying it's created the network, created José Open-Webui, created José Ollama, created the 2 containers. So now that should be good. Okay, so now let's, in your web browser, just try entering the URL of localhost.
Localhost?
Localhost.
Oops.
Not local Jose.
That's it, right? Just nothing else?
Okay.
Oh,
we are there, man. We are there.
Did it give me a password?
No, no, no. You just sign up.
Oh, okay. Where's the sign up button? Oh, there it is.
On the bottom there.
And your full name. Oh, can't even spell my own name. Email. Oh, why did it choose a password?
It seems like it just, I don't know, you might have had something else that on localhost that you've used to sign into before.
Maybe, yeah. Strong password. Okay. Create account.
Yeah. There you are. Okay.
There you are.
Awesome.
Okay.
This is, I wish my presentation on Sunday went this well.
Well, we hit a couple of bumps, but that's okay.
I needed you there. That's what I needed.
You needed to actually not be in front of everybody and to just sit down in front of a Mac.
Yeah.
Because you didn't need me. It's just that the keyboard is like, 800 kilometers away from you. That's my purpose.
No, I just think that Macs generally behave better when José Domingo Cruz is in the room. That
actually has been theorized before. So can I just give this a prompt right now? Is it ready to go?
Not yet, because what we've done now is we've installed Ollama and the WebUI, and we're in the WebUI, but we haven't installed any models yet. So next thing we need to do is grab a model. So you see your name in the bottom left-hand corner there? let's click on that and go to settings.
There's an add a model button up here though, but
That's a different add model. That's add models
okay.
that already exist. But we need
Okay,
to download
so
the models.
settings.
Yep. Now inside here on the left-hand side, first of all, let's go to connections. Now, we see the one that says Ollama base URL. On the right-hand side, you see that sort of a refresh type button. Let's just click that and see what happens. Beautiful. Server connection verified. So that means that it is connecting automatically to your Ollama instance on your computer, and it has connected properly with that, and that's beautiful. So now we can go to the next stage, models, in the next section.
Okay, models.
And let's start off with, say, Mistral, shall we? So in the second box, we go enter model tag, and we'll just type in the word Mistral in there, M-I-S-T-R-A-L. Oh,
boop, boop.
R-A-L. Yep, and just hit that download button on the right-hand side. Okay, now this Mistral by default is a 7 billion parameter model. So it'll take a little
I
bit
think the
more
last time we did it, when you showed me, it took like about 2 or 3 minutes. It looks like it'll take about 2 or 3 minutes. And I would just I would bookmark this URL. That would be it. And then I could get into Ollama every time I wanted, right?
Yeah, but remember that this URL is localhost is actually saying this computer. So
Right.
it won't be accessible on, say, your other Mac or something
Totally
like
understand. Totally understand.
that.
How
This
about
is
this URL? What will this do? This one here.
that will do nothing.
Okay.
Because that URL there is actually Ollama. That's inside the Docker network.
Okay.
And so from your host, you shouldn't actually be able to see inside the Docker network.
Okay.
And so that's gonna do nothing as well.
So that's it. Just http://localhost. That's the URL for Ollama.
Yep.
Huh.
Unless you install something else on localhost someday later. But
That's what I was thinking, shouldn't it have like a slash and a port number or something like that? No.
So the Docker Compose file that we use to bring it up has the port number set to 80, which is just default HTTP, which is why we don't need a port number. But you could change that to 8080 or 3000 or whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
But you'd change that in the Docker Compose file, and then when you bring it up, it'll come up again.
Okay.
So that's starting to verify there now. And it has been
Successfully
successfully
downloaded.
downloaded. So now we can close the settings box and select a model from the top there. Let's select Mistral. And while we're there, let's click on that set as default one so that it'll always select it by default so that, remember. And time to enter your first prompt. What will it be? What is ice hockey? Okay, very Canadian of you. And here we
Let's
go.
see if it's correct. It's a team sport player, not correct? Correct? Yeah. Usually that's the other thing. 6 players from each team. Correct? Oh, incorrect.
I don't know about the word goaltender.
It technically it's a goaltender.
Really?
But we call them goalies. But it's already incorrect. It's 2 defensemen, 3 forwards.
Okay.
To be played in 3 periods. That's correct. Breaks in between. Correct. Team scores most goals, correct, except for the composition of the skaters. So, I'd give that an 80 out of 100. I mean, that's a really basic thing. There were 2 defensemen and 3 forwards. And still not bad, right? So how up to date is this Mistral? Like OpenAI's ChatGPT 3.5 was good until 2022. How up to date is Mistral? Or what does those 7 billion parameters cover?
So the way to find that out would be to go back to that settings dialog again, and we can get the list of access the available model names for downloading. Click here, and if you click there, that'll actually open the Ollama web page, and this is the library of all the available models. And so if you find Mistral in that list, you'll see when it was updated. It was updated 8 weeks ago.
Oh,
So in theory, I guess it's got information as of that build, which might have been, built a few weeks or months, or based on data weeks or months before that. But anyway, 8 weeks ago was when it was built.
okay.
That's the best I've got for that information.
Cool. Cool.
Also, it doesn't mean that just because a model exists doesn't mean the model was actually trained with the internet.
Sure.
The data almost certainly came from the internet, but what select parts or something
Right.
will vary depend on the model.
It looks like no one has ever asked it what is ice hockey because it's probably guessing on the composition of the skaters,
Yeah.
three
Well,
defensemen, two
every
forwards.
model is better at answering questions based on the data that refer to things that appear heavily in the data that it's brought up on.
Cool.
So our children only know what we teach them.
So it seems as if the steps that we took were correct. For the most part, if I remember properly, we went to Homebrew and we installed Homebrew.
Yep.
We went to GitHub and what did we do here again? Oh yeah, we went to sudo docker compose, but this was kind of the problem, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the set of steps were to install brew, to use brew to install docker compose. Then we did brew install docker, but I don't think that was a necessary thing. I think installing the docker desktop on Mac, that one worked better. And also you've got on your OS now, you've got like some icons at the top that tell you that Docker is running or something, right?
Yeah, right there. It's in my dock. It's called Docker Desktop. It's actually an application that starts up Docker. So
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
yeah, that is pretty cool. And it's free to use for, small users, right? Not
Yeah,
bad.
and educational users, which is, hey, hopefully a lot of
Fair
the
enough.
people out
Fair enough.
there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And
So
let's see. And this error that we got, what was that error
yeah,
again?
the error was to do not use sudo on
Sudo,
a Mac.
right. Right,
So
right,
the Docker Compose up -d is just without the sudo.
right. So we
And
could have bypassed that entire problem by not doing any of that and just go to Docker Desktop, right? Okay.
yeah.
And I don't remember all of the other steps, but I mean, that's why we recorded this so that,
Yeah, well, I
else.
think, because we're putting this on YouTube, right? So we'll put it in the description below, just list basically the steps which you're going to need. I might not be able to add the full commands because YouTube does prevent you from using like curly braces and things like that sometimes. So I'll try and paste the commands there if I can, but if I can't get away with it,
Or maybe
just go
make
to
a page on
brew.sh.
Wisecat. Maybe make a page on Wisecat that you can get people to link to and then put in the verbatim text in on that page.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll probably just put in the URL for brew.sh because that's pretty easy to remember as well. I
Yeah,
mean, I've
pretty
already
easy.
remembered.
Pretty easy. Do you still
Oh,
need these windows?
no, I think we're good. You're ready to go and play to your heart's content and find out which models can do what.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Mm.
Just really quickly for the audience, maybe some people stumbled upon this themselves. Why do you really advocate that people go ahead and go to this trouble to get what is ostensibly a slightly less capable version AI when compared to something like OpenAI's ChatGPT?
Well, the number one reason I would say is freedom. The freedom to do what you wish with the AIs, to try things, to experiment with them, build your own model files, do whatever you want to do without having to pay someone or look over your shoulder to say, oh, is this person, am I going to run afoul of some sort of a licensing agreement or anything like that? The open source models and the open source software in general, as well as it's free as in free beer, but it's also free as in freedom that you can do with it whatever you want. And that's really the big benefit here. So actually at the conference that I was talking about, we actually went and we ran the tiny llama model on a Raspberry Pi. And we're absolutely free to do all those things with zero internet connection required. We're free to do that. You're not free to do that. You're not free to take your model outside of OpenAI if you're using OpenAI. They hold on to the model and you're just visiting as a guest. Whereas if I want to take my AI inside my laptop to the top of Kilimanjaro and run an AI up there, I'm free to do so.
Should you ever want to? Yeah.
Okay, that's a silly example, but perhaps a better example would be bringing AI to educational contexts in places where they don't have internet connection.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, remote locations and things like that. You could have people who want to use AIs for research behind, stringent university firewalls and things like that as well.
Sure.
So there are many applications for actually being able to run something that doesn't require you to connect to the internet all the time. And the freedom that allows is just kind of awesome.
I would also imagine that although it's kind of a sticky topic, but not just freedom as in liberty and in beer, but also a sense of freedom from not having to worry as much if you're being watched. If you're typing something and it goes over across the internet to go to OpenAI servers, yes, to a certain degree, they can say, no, we don't look at your stuff to see, what it is that you're actually texting to your sweetheart, but you're never really sure. And
Yeah.
I think I was reading something just today that if you actually read in fine print, the Slack user agreement, there's a lot of people in JALT, in Japan Association of Language Teachers, groups that still love to use Slack. Apparently, there's a good chunk of that says we do whatever we want with any of the messages that you put in here. We're not going to share them, but we can do what we want with them. And I think to myself, holy crap, they literally wrote that down, and people are still using that.
Yeah, well, there's that. I've seen another. I'm not going to name them, but there was a VPS provider that recently got into quite the stink with, half of the world who use them, because they actually wrote that they had the rights to all of your data that you put on their services.
Yikes!
In perpetuity, forever, unending carte blanche to do with it whatever the hell they wanted to.
Wow.
And they actually wrote that into their terms of service. Like,
wow.
You doofuses. You shouldn't do that.
Well,
just note to VPS providers out there, don't do that.
well, thank you for doing that. Now I know which one not to use, but yeah, you don't know, because if they take Adam's advice, they will start looking at your messages and they're not even going to tell you. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of advantages to this, and I think it's a good idea to try it. It's really easy to do once you've done it once or twice yourself. Right?
Yeah, at the conference as well, I was joking that the worst case scenario, if the Raspberry Pi that I loaded it up on suddenly became sentient and decided to take over humanity or something and enslave us all, you could just hit it with a hammer.
Yeah, just put it under one of those desk legs.
but in all seriousness, the idea that you can just take it, unplug it, reflash the SD card and start over. The freedom to do that when you completely mess it up, that's pretty good free. Oh, by the way, the command to take it down,
yeah, I was going to say
docker-compose space down.
DOW.
That takes it down completely. And you can then do docker image rm. Well, actually, in the Docker desktop, you'll have the images there, and you can delete them and completely start over as well. If you delete the images and the volumes, then that's completely wiped off of your disk.
Why isn't it? Oh, there it is.
And so, yeah, this is kind of cool. So there's volumes. Go to volumes, because that's where the data would actually be stored. So that's where, for example, if you get rid of the Open-Webui one, that will remove that sign-in.
Right.
Because that's where the sign-in information is stored. The Ollama one that would be where your models are stored. And so if you delete that, you'll have to re-download the models again, which could be a bit
Oh,
annoying.
how often would a user have to download that Mistral file?
Once.
But to stay up to date, how often?
If you want to re-pull it later, yeah, you can. But I mean, it was only updated what 8 weeks ago. It said on the webpage,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not going to
You probably
be.
want to do it maybe once a year, I guess, if you're worried about that sort of thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can install models, delete models. It's quite likely that later on a different model will catch your fancy. And if you want to have a look, some of the other models in the library there also have. So they have different variations of them. So the Mistral, for example, has a 7 billion parameter model, which is pretty good. But it's also, I think, got a 13 billion parameter model or something, which will be better.
That's I should ask that. How much space would a user have to have available to install what we just installed?
Um, what we just installed, probably around about 6 or 7 gigabytes.
6 or 7 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think most people
So,
have that to give up.
and I think the Open-Webui and Ollama itself, I think, is around about 1.5 gigabytes, and then yeah, about 4.5 or so for the model that we installed.
And it looks like, I'm just guessing here, but it looks like this one here, virtual machine service,
Mm-hmm.
runs 7%. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if how much it takes up when I'm actually asking it a lot of prompts, but between 8% or 7.5% and 12%, that's
Um,
reasonable.
well, just put in a prompt, and do you have the graphic version or something?
Unfortunately not, but let's see, but at least we can track it. Let's see. What?
Yeah, and this Docker Compose version is not set up to use GPU at all. So I can see that you've got a GPU column there and
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't know how to do that.
So it's running now.
Yeah, I can see that
Oh,
CPU
look at
load
that.
is.
It took up like 8 of my cores. It took up seven of
Look,
my cores.
you see the CPU load bit at the bottom there?
Yeah, look at that.
Yoink.
I have like 12 cores and it took up almost 10 of them.
Wow. Yeah, 980%.
It seems to be writing its response a little bit more slowly too. I asked it, what is field hockey?
Mm.
And it's about 75% more words. Okay.
Mm.
And there, now it's cleaning itself up and probably drop back down to 7%
Yeah.
background use.
CPU's
Yeah.
dropped right down again.
Yeah. If it's all that you're doing, I guess it's okay. And if you're just using it to write a research paper and all you've got left is running is your word processor, yeah, okay, reasonable.
Well, there are other ways to install Ollama, and you can actually install it sort of more natively to the Mac, and then you'd have to install Open-Webui separately as well. The reason to do it this way with the Docker Compose file is that once you've got Docker Compose up and running, it's Docker Compose up dash D, and that's about as easy as I think it can get. So if you're not too hell-bent on it being the most performant thing ever, then this is a good starting place. And you can, try it out, see if you like it, and then, migrate on to the other more native, Mac native sort of ways of running things and add the GPUs and all that sort of stuff later if that's what tickles your fancy.
I don't know if you need anything past this. I mean, it basically looks like Chat GPT, or you're talking about the Docker. But if all you want to do is just run this UI for your LLM, then why bother? You've got it running, you've got the web UI. What I'm really looking forward to is speaking about native ways of running things on a Mac is what Apple is going to do in about 3 or 4 weeks when it releases a whole lot of new AI software. It'll be really important to see what they say actually about privacy, because up to now they've always been talking about, oh, we protect your privacy, we protect your privacy. But this team up that they're doing with OpenAI might put that into a little bit of a hazy area. And if they don't come out as strongly in their statements about protecting privacy when they make their announcements of the software, that might actually be quite telling. So I'm really looking forward as to what they're going to do.
Yeah, it's some pretty amazing times that we live in right now, huh?
Isn't it? But that was a really successful night. More
Yeah.
successful than you thought it would be, I think.
Oh, way more, way more. I expected us to just hit problems, get frustrated, and say, screw it, we'll try it again on the M1 later. But
It went really well. That took what? Oh, less than an hour and a half, and that was with a lot of chit chat, and
oh,
and
yeah.
it works really well.
Yeah. So those of you out there, please give it a try, give it a shot, have some fun. If you have some more frustration than fun, let us know in the comments. If you have more fun than frustration, let us know in the comments. Thank you very much. And thank you so much, Jose, for joining us, the Mac Whisperer, and actually also the Zoom Whisperer.
Yeah, okay, don't stop looking for the book. I saw your eyes flirt to the side. No, it's okay.
I don't
It's
have to
all right.
look for it. I've got it on
Oh,
speed dial.
all right.
Right.
Okay.
So there's also a book. It's a little bit old now, but it's still a good read, I reckon, especially the bits on security and things like that are still relevant today, I would say. If not completely up to date with Zoom's modern settings, but it's again, you know, these things sometimes they're more about mindset than they are about just doing things. And besides, Jose gets a bit of a kickback if you buy the book. So if you don't have the book yet, buy one.
Believe it or not, yes, the writer actually does make profits off the book sales. Yes.
Or buy a couple of copies for, say, your friends or your university library or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. You know, that'll never hurt you. You got to use that money for something anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks, buddy.
Thanks so much. I'm feeling pretty good about this. This has been a great help. I don't know anywhere near enough about Max to have done this by myself. So seriously, you were really an amazing help to me today. Thank you so much.
More than happy to do it. More than happy to do it. You've been a great help to me too.
Okay.
Okay.
I will stop the recording now. So to those of you out there in YouTube land, see you next time. Smash that subscribe button and all that sort of stuff, and buy Jose's book.
Bye.
That's